Meantime, police say they've finally solved the mystery of the so-called cat killer. There have been hundreds of attacks across London and the surrounding counties over the last 3 years, resulting in a public outcry. And a raft of celebrities threw their support behind campaigns to catch the culprit. Now, detectives say there's enough evidence to prove an evil human wasn't behind the mutilations. Instead, it was a fox or foxes. All started in November of 2015, when cats, often with their heads and tails removed, were found in and around Croydon in South London. South Norwood Animal Rescue in Liberty, otherwise known as Snarl, then held 25 post-mortems. The cause of death was found to be blunt force trauma, such as a collision with vehicles. Mutilations happened after death. 6 cases were deemed as suspicious, and that's when the police opened their investigation. Officers in Croydon collated over 400 additional reports from the public and animal charities. During their search, CCTV was obtained, and in 3 instances, foxes were caught on camera carrying bodies or the body parts of cats before dumping them. Well, despite the evidence, there's still some scepticism. There's already a petition to reopen the investigation. Let's bring in Lorna Shaddock, who is joining us from South London. Hello to you. So it looks as though it's foxes, but not everybody thinks that's true.
That's right. Already quite a lot of reaction in South London against this particular conclusion drawn by the Met Police. Of course, as you say, this investigation began back in 2015, involved up to 15 officers at one point, not just in and around the Croydon area, but the whole M25 corridor and beyond, in fact, caught up with this mystery. And this road here near Bromley is just one of the streets where, very unfortunately, a cat was found killed. And we can speak now to Samantha Brown, the owner of Harley, who very unfortunately died here on this street a little earlier this year. Is that right, Samantha?
Yes, Harley was murdered in April of this year during the Easter holidays, and the police called and informed us that Harley had been involved in an incident that they did not believe was a road traffic accident, and his body was sent to the vet, and it was later examined, and his injuries that he sustained were not the result of a fox or a car.
So the police now, of course, saying most of these, including presumably Harley's case, are likely to have involved a car and then an animal mutilating the body. But you don't believe that. Why is that?
I know that Harley was not hit by a car and mutilated by a fox. His tail was sliced cleanly off by an instrument, and he had blunt force trauma to the head. Unless a fox has opposable thumbs and can hold a mallet and a knife, there is no way that Harley could have been the victim of a fox. When I asked the vet, could his tail have been ripped off by a car, maybe cut under a tire, he said no. 100% it was a clean cut. So, you tell me.
And the police are saying fox DNA found on quite a lot of these bodies that were discovered, but you don't think that's the case for Harley. And tell us a bit about Harley himself as well. You've got a picture of him there, haven't you?
Yes. This is Harley.
And why don't you think it was a fox?
Harley was not murdered by a fox because the injuries that he sustained were not from a fox or a car. He had a clean cut, he had blunt force trauma, there was no blood, his body was neatly displayed at the scene of the crime, his tail was taken. How could that be a fox? How can a fox cleanly slice off a tail? How can a fox do blunt force trauma to a cat's head? How does that happen?
Well, Samantha, we know you're certainly not the only one with more questions still after the Met Police's conclusion. Samantha is saying that she isn't going to rest. She wants to find out more about just why Scotland Yard has come to this conclusion.
OK, for now, thanks very much indeed. Thanks a lot. So we're obviously going to keep an eye on that. Now, everybody convinced that foxes are responsible for the deaths of those cats. Meantime,